Hello, how are you? Welcome to the weekly wisdom. Going to look at astrology, and I am going to look for, I'm pulling from the Black Tarot deck for the wisdom for this week. It is October the 27th, and I will look at the astrology through, yeah, at least November 1st. Welcome, Queens. How are you? I am Tyra Omilade, your goddess guru, your sister friend, and I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. And I'm excited to come in today and talk to you a little bit about the astrology. How's everybody doing out there? Yes, want to come in, land, and talk about the astrology. Not a super eventful week, yet there's always something that we can take from the astrology. In my mind, when we align ourselves with the stars, with the numbers, with the oracles, it helps us to, it gives us a guiding light. That's what it's always done for me. It's why I have just jumped full into readings and divination of all sorts. It's because once I started using the oracles, oh my gosh, I stopped feeling like I was just zigzagging all the time and understood the path forward. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the astrology again. Tyra Omega, priestess, astrologer, spiritual guide, and all things goddess, all things women. I'm here for us. Love the men, don't have no problem with the men, but yeah, So we're going to go ahead and look at the astrology. We are in the last week of October 2025. And this week is a mix of Mercury and Mars. So, Mercury is all about the mind, conversation, moving to and fro, a little bit of like getting things done. And Mars is about taking action, being driven. If there's something you have to fight for, Mars is excellent for that. Both of these planets, well, I guess Mars is for sure masculine. Mercury is just sort of neutral. It's a little bit masculine, a little bit feminine. I guess you could consider it to be a little bit of both. That's the way I'll describe it. So, but to me, Mercury is actually more masculine than feminine. It's not a super feminine planet. It's very logical and it thinks and thinks and thinks. And the feminine is more of about the intuition and the feeling. So, little bit of a masculine week, with the exception of we do have quite a bit of energy in water. I think I mentioned that last week. So Mars is interacting with Jupiter on the 28th. It's interacting with Neptune. So both of these, this will span for sure. We'll start feeling this the 26th easily. We felt it 27th through about the 30th, maybe even the 31st. Because this is the thing I want y'all to know. Mercury is starting to go through its shadow period. We are approaching Mercury retrograde on November the 9th. So it's going into the shadow period. And so it's getting a little bit slower. It's not super slow, but it is definitely slowing down a little bit. So it's like the mind, a lot of things will be on our mind. We may be more expansive. We may have things that we're feeling limited by, but we're asked to grow and expand. We're asked to have faith. We're asked to believe in a higher power, Jupiter and Neptune. Jupiter is about being able to see the big picture, and Jupiter is in Cancer and Mercury is in Scorpio. So Cancer is definitely this energy that's about family and care and nurturance. It can be emotional. Don't get me wrong. It can be very emotional. And so, yeah, oh, history. It's also about the ancestors and leaning on the history that we get from the ancestors. So that could be a little bit of something that it's like that's where the wisdom is coming from. It's coming from your intuition, it's coming from your body even. For women, there's so much wisdom in the body. So it's just this feeling that you may get or the way your body responds. It's letting you know, hey, yes or no, right? Or really connecting with the ancestors. And, how do you do it? And maybe that's why I felt like doing the Black Tarot today, because I am of African descent, African American descent, and this is definitely an oracle that's based on our experience in the diaspora for sure, but it's very African American-esque. So leaning on the wisdom of the ancestors, whatever your ancestors, whatever your culture, your heritage, there could be some wisdom. Look in the history books, look at documentaries, those kinds of things coming through, and it'll bring some healing. Actually, this is Mars operating with or mixing with Jupiter, and Mercury is mixing with Neptune, but is no different. It's still this focus on the ancestors and intuition, and it potentially leads to a deep healing, because Mars and Mercury, they're both in Scorpio, and Scorpio is all about depth and healing. But I can tell you this, if there's something that you're studying, if you need to work intensively at like really doing a deep dive, or envisioning envisioning something, whatever that could be. It could be the vision for your life. It could be something that you're working on and it's like, I need to see the vision of it. This would be a great week for that. There's a lot of energy of opportunity because Mars is also trining Saturn. So we have Mars trining Jupiter and Saturn. And so there's this energy of blessings. Mercury's trining Neptune as it moves into no, yeah, right before it changes signs, it is trining Neptune. So there's a blessing that I want you to open yourself up to this week. And it could come in through the mind, through a conversation, through talking to somebody, a connection that you may have. You may even get some good news, some beneficial news, but it could be this is something that you wanted to hear about a while ago, and now it's coming back to you because that Neptune is retrograde. Jupiter is slowing down. It's a lot of energy of things just kind of like really slowing down. We have planets that are retrograde. We have planets that are about to go retrograde because y'all have to excuse me. I have two pairs of glasses to see, but Jupiter goes retrograde on the 11th. So Mercury is going retrograde on the 9th. It's a lot of retro energy. And then Neptune is retrograde. This is November. And Saturn is still retrograde. So, whoo, yeah. It's definitely this energy where it could be, especially with that Jupiter in Cancer, you're thinking back on things. You could feel very nostalgic, but it's good. It's a good nostalgia. It's like, when I went to visit and hang out with some friends from college, I don't or my cousins, because I don't see my cousins and hang out with them much. When I hang out with those 2 groups, I have a history with them that my body responds to, and I feel so good. That we just had all these memories and these conversations, and we were talking about things that are in the present, but there's just this feeling of being at home. And one thing that I want you to understand or to know or invite you into is coming home to yourself as a feminine being. That's something that is very important for us right now. We always talk about living in this hyper masculine world. And so the question is, how do you come home to your feminine energy, to you as a feminine being? And think about, how can you care for yourself better? Or how can you engage in art and do beautiful things? Or, there is this energy of going into the darkness. It's interesting because yesterday I wrote inside of the Soul Alchemy membership about the priestess. That we all have an inner high priestess, and where her domain is Scorpio. It's in the dark. So the ability for women to be able to tune into the darkness within, to even be at a time that feels dark, but have a knowing, to have this guidance that's within you. Scorpio is about trust. So to be able to trust what's in that darkness, that is what the high priestess is about. And that is part of the coming home that you could potentially focus on. I mean, every woman is different. So you can decide. And it's interesting, the cards that I pulled, I'll go over those in a minute. So I love that. Mercury is also opposing. First, Mercury will go into Sagittarius. And once Mercury goes into Sagittarius, see, it's so close today. It's going to go into Sagittarius and it's going to be opposite Uranus. Now we'll say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe. Pay attention to what happens. Pay attention. And the reason I'm saying that is because when Mercury retrogrades, it is going, let's see, it retrogrades at 6 of Sagittarius. So when it comes retrograde back, it's going to go back over that Uranus. It's going to go back past that Uranus. So it'll be opposite again. And so let's see here. Uranus. Okay. So goes in Taurus. Oh, you know what? Uranus goes in Taurus on November the 7th. So Mercury is actually opposite Taurus. The next time it'll be opposite Uranus, it'll be in a different sign. Interesting. But this first time coming across, it'll be opposite Uranus in its own sign of Gemini. And so that can create some technological glitches, 100%. It could have something to do with travel because both Gemini, which is where Uranus is, and Sagittarius, which is where Mercury will be, are travel signs. So it could have something to do with that. But another thing it could do is help you to look at conflicting beliefs that you have. Or maybe it's like you have a belief inside of you, but something is happening outside of you that's asking you to do something and you just feel this conflict. So it's this conflict, but right now, a lot of what we're being asked to do is grow and expand. Okay. And there's a deep healing that a lot of us will be experiencing. Oh, but still, Mercury is going to go back across that Uranus when it retrogrades, even though they'll be in Scorpio and Taurus, honestly. So that will impact something with money. And then with Mercury coming back, it will oppose Uranus and Taurus again. So you want to just be paying attention. Uranus wants you to get a breakthrough. So it could be there's something that is limited in the mind. And you'll start seeing this on what day is that? On the 29th of October. You'll start seeing that. It's a breakthrough around the mind, or maybe there's something that you need to speak up and say. It could definitely help you with that, but it also can get you, like, some amazing ideas. It might be a little frustrating the way that it comes to you, might be a little bit hard and intense or a hard lesson happens, but it definitely can help with that. And then Mercury is going to sextile Pluto, so it's a lot going on with Mercury. Once Mercury goes into Sagittarius, then it starts immediately interacting with Pluto. And so that's a very nice transit. Maybe what will start to happen is you'll start thinking about, okay, what's my vision? What are my goals? You may want to revisit them. And because both Sagittarius and Aquarius, which is where Mercury and Pluto are, they like to look out into the future. They're very futuristic. So it could be something futuristic happening. It could be something social. There could be some interesting meeting that you have with somebody. It could be a peer, it could be a teacher, it could be even like a sibling or someone who you have an interesting conversation with. And I just say, pay attention because Mercury is going to come back past that Pluto. I really do think that there's a lot of answers people have been looking for. And this week is a week that can help you to get some of those answers. But both of these signs, Pluto and, excuse me, Sagittarius and Aquarius, they want growth, they want expansion, they want to make progress. And so with Mercury interacting with Pluto, it's like stand in your power to make this progress. And so, yeah, Mercury will be in Sagittarius. It's not the best sign for Mercury, quite frankly. It struggles in Sagittarius because Sagittarius is a sign that's about philosophy and it thinks big. Everything is big with Sagittarius, whereas Mercury, which rules Gemini, it likes things in small bits, spots, micro type of information. Sometimes when you see Geminis. Geminis can be a little bit of emotional eaters, to be honest with you, but they just eat a little bit at a time. They don't like stuff to be too big. Gemini is like, hey, let's take these and put these into small little packages. So it struggles with all of this, hey, we got to be big. But I always loved Mercury in Sagittarius because it really does give us an opportunity. Like if you've been dealing with stinking thinking, it can help you to be more optimistic because Sagittarius is optimistic. It can help you to have more faith and to speak more about being grateful. I will say Mercury, which is about communication and writing, in Sagittarius, if there's something you need to write, both of them are very helpful with studying, so it's really good. But the other thing to think about is Mercury is going to go retrograde in Sagittarius, so it'll go 6 degrees in, and then it will retrograde and move forward and go back into Scorpio, so there's some lesson that we have. I think that some of us will be finishing up perhaps something that got started last year around this time. You may wanna look back at November-ish. I think that's when Mercury was retrograde. Last year around this time, Mercury was going retrograde in Sagittarius. And so my question is, what were you doing last year this time? Is there anything that feels like you can tie up a loose end? And yeah, hmm, yes, I remember because Mercury went retrograde right close to the end of November, and then Mars went retrograde December. So, and Mercury went retrograde, if I remember correctly, only in Sagittarius. It's like tying up some loose ends, but then it's going to go back into Scorpio. And Mercury retrograde is always about slowing down. And we've already been saying this is a time to slow down. Um, So we want to slow down to really see. But I think that this Mercury in Scorpio is going to be more of that high priestess energy. What can you see in the darkness? What needs healing? And there could be some money topics that are coming up for you all too. So that's what I have for the astrology. Let's look at this, the oracle reading. It's very powerful. Okay, so I'm super excited about this first card, Wheel of Fortune. And of course, we know the Wheel of Fortune. We said expect that. That's one of the things that the astrology is emphasizing. Oh, no wonder I can't see. I took off my reading glasses. So this one is connected to fate and karma. And one of the words that's associated, another word that's associated with is yes. So when you look at this card, the Wheel of Fortune, it says a sunflower life cycle is centered around the elements, highlighting the phases of creation. The wheel reminds us to remain centered in a chaotic world. When you are centered, you surpass distractions and remain adaptable to anything that comes your way. The Wheel of Fortune says, do not take anything for granted. So be sure to do your gratitude practice. We also have that Mars energy that is active this week. And so Mars is about being brave. And there's another one that will be speaking to that. So, but remain centered in a chaotic world. Mars connecting with Jupiter, I think, is a good example of that. And it's all about how do you get yourself recentered if once you get out of center. Now, this one says, how do you break negative thoughts and habits? That's another question that it asks. So I think that's a good one for this week because part of all of this energy with the Mercury and the mind is addressing that. So the next card that I pulled is the Ace of Knives, and Ace has to do with the air energy. And this one is about breakthroughs and clarity. And so I pulled the cards prior to, but I didn't exactly know what I was going to say about that astrology. And so this matches exactly what we were talking about. You can get breakthroughs and you can get clarity. Okay. So, Ace of Knives. It says a woman stands with the city silhouetted behind her, and she holds a knife prepared for anything headed her way. A raven flies above, showcasing its ability to survive the sun, hinting at a change in consciousness. The Ace of Knives is about stepping back into your power. See, we talked about that with that Pluto. The woman is headed towards new beginnings. It is time to channel this new energy and allow it to help you in your decision making. This card asks you to be open to different perspectives. With Sag energy, it's possible, okay? But with Mercury being there, we have to really be intentional. Approach situations rationally, putting aside temptations and emotions. This new clarity may call you to speak your truth or voice new boundaries. Who is this for? Do not fear using your words or your voice. All right. So this is so aligned with the energy of this week. So get that breakthrough, speak up. Mercury is heightened, so I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if people are speaking up lots. The last card I pulled, it's a good one. It's the Strength card. And so it stands for courage and strength and the word yes. So we have two cards to say yes. And I just encourage you to think about what do you need to say yes to? A woman communes with a panther operating in a sustainable equilibrium with nature. It takes courage and power to act in accordance with your heart, mind, and soul. There is no true strength without love. Strength is a reminder that if you stay grounded, you will triumph. So that's important for us this week to stay grounded. She encourages you to be brave. You have what it takes to handle whatever comes your way. The strength card does not call for brute force, but rather for a soft yet firm balance. One of the questions to ask yourself is, do you trust your capabilities? And the other one I thought I would ask yourself is, do you have strength to show yourself, to show both yourself and others grace and compassion. So just remember these words that come with it: courage, determination, persuasion, influence, bravery, overcoming self doubt, and perseverance. An affirmation for this one is: I am a fearless alchemist, able to transform all that is negative into that which is positive. Thank you. I hope that this reading has touched you and supported you in some way. I wish you a wonderful week. I look forward to connecting with you all throughout the week, be it here in the video, the podcast, or any place where I'm posting. I would love it if you joined my email list as well as my Inspired Goddess Mighty Networks community. Please, if you have received anything from this video, give it a like and a share. And I'm even going to just say, hey, if you want to give a thanks, anytime you'd like to give me a thanks, I would appreciate it because yeah, I love sharing and it helps to support the work that I do. So yeah, I appreciate you all so much. And I am going to go on ahead and log off. Let's see what am I going to use to take us out of here. We're gonna have to just we're gonna have to just go with whatever we hear. Have a beautiful week. Blessings of the mothers and the ancestors be upon you and yours now and always. Take care, guys. And remember, keep dancing. That's what we do here. If you don't know how to dance, just move. Just move. I appreciate you all so much. Y'all take care.